Pigweed here. Today we review an IPA and discuss cats versus dogs. Hello and welcome to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Good evening, Crowhill.
Good evening, Pigweed.
What is on your mind?
Well, I was thinking about a time when I was a lad. We never had a dog or a cat. My dad hated cats, and my mom was deadly afraid of dogs.
Okay, well, there's a combo.
Yeah, and one time I found this dog. I was wandering around the neighborhood, and I just found this stray dog. And it's the nicest dog.
Did he follow you?
Followed me home, took him home, played with him in the backyard, and actually my mom even liked this dog. But it was obvious it was somebody else's dog.
Okay.
And
what kind of dog?
Oh, it was a German Shepherd type dog, but it wasn't
right.
a German Shepherd, but it was like a mix, partly German Shepherd. Very, very nice dog. And we put out an advertisement, and the owners came and picked it up. But for like 2 days, I had a dog. That was it. The only time in my life that I actually had a dog.
I know.
Yeah.
Mine's similar.
Yeah.
But you want to try this beer?
I do want to try this beer.
So
this is from your buddy.
Yes, this is from coworker Ben.
Yeah.
And he got a kit, an extract kit, and it's called Mosaic IPA because it's a single hop IPA.
And Mosaic refers to the hop. It doesn't refer to a wall decoration.
Exactly.
Yes.
And which is a very hot hop. Like the last 3 years, I never heard of it before, the last 3 years, but it's all over the place now. And as a home brewer, I love single hop beers.
Yeah. Because it tells you what that hop tastes like.
Yes, when you get 3 hops in a beer.
I know. You don't know which one's doing what.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is, and it's a lot. So in a 5-gallon batch, it's 2 in the boil, 2 at flame out, and 2 at dry hop.
Wow. Okay.
So,
that's a lot of hops.
And it's got, well...
It's got 9 pounds of fermentable sugars in it, too, which is...
Yes, right. And apparently at 10 minutes, just to kick things up a bit, it's got a pound of corn sugar, which is doing nothing but giving you alcohol. It's not sweetening your beer, right?
No.
In fact, it's probably drying your beer. And, and what do you think?
So, well,
let's
start at the basics here. The color is nice. It's a nice copper color.
Yes, it's a copper color. It's much darker than your average IPA. In the all grain version, to get that, you've got 1.5 pounds of Vienna malt, which is
now it's slightly low on the carbonation, but since he brought it in a growler, I'm assuming he tapped it off. Okay, so that's understandable. But the carbonation is nice. It's just a little bit low. The flavor, I can really taste the Mosaic hop. I mean, you get a good sense of what that tastes like.
There's not as much nose as I would think. I mean, you've got 2 ounces at flame out and 2 ounces at dry hop.
No, it's all in the mouth.
Yeah.
There's very little hop aroma.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Which is a little surprising.
I don't know. And I don't have any stats on the ABV, but this probably's got to be in the 8 range.
It's got to be around there. Yeah. Well, it's very nice. I like it. It's got a little bit of a stickiness to it, the hoppiness, and it's got a good, solid bitter hop background.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
That is a good hop. So he did the extract version, but what came with the kit was also an all grain version, which I might give that a shot come springtime.
Yeah. So it's got 2-row German caramel and 2 Vienna malt.
Right.
Caramel and
caramel 40, caramel 80, yeah, and some corn sugar, just for good measure.
Very nice, yeah. Well done, Ben.
Well done, Ben. So, what other sorts of pets? I know I actually, with my brother and some wood and chicken wire, made a guinea pig cage.
Yeah.
And I had a great little short-haired brown guinea pig named Binker.
Is that right?
Yeah, and he was awesome. And I takes like picnic table tables and turn them on the sides and put him in the yard and just let him spend the day out there eating grass. He was kind of nice, but as a kid, did not have the family dog.
Yeah, no, we didn't.
But my brother had a fish tank.
Right.
Did you ever? How about reptiles or any gerbils or hamsters?
No. So my brother was really into fish and had big fish tanks.
Oh, so okay, so you're used to okay. It still does, right?
Yeah, still does. Big fish tanks, and every once in a while there were strange creatures in the fish tanks other than fish. You know, things that could like try to crawl out. So maybe there was
something caught in the creek,
something reptile-ish that could crawl out, but no hamsters or rabbits or anything like that. Right. Although now this actually surprises me looking back. It was in elementary school, and I don't remember exactly which grade, but we had hatched some chickens in the classroom.
Yeah.
And it was always somebody's duty to take the chicks home over the weekend because they couldn't just leave them in the school.
All right.
So I volunteered, took the things home.
In what? It's like a tub?
They're like a box. Just take so I show up home from elementary school with this box full of chicks. and my parents were totally fine with that. And looking back on it, I'm kind of amazed that they didn't say, you should have asked us first or something.
They just showed up.
I just showed up with some chicks, and they were like, okay, that's fine. So
that's how you do at a party sometimes, right?
just show up.
With chicks
with a bunch of chicks in a box. Yeah. So my pet experience growing up was very limited. Now my neighbors had dogs,
right?
So I got to know that.
That's in a way that's the best. As a dad,
you have to walk them.
Yeah. If my grandkids would come over, and our neighbor just got this big friendly dog that never barked. I mean, you just can't beat that.
Yeah.
And the kids could be entertained, and then I don't have to deal with the excess.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like being a grandparent, you have fun with the kids, and then you send them back home with mom and dad. Yeah.
So let me think. If that guinea pig experience. All right, you ready to get to the big two?
The big two.
Right.
Dogs and cats.
So then, in high schoolish, we got a mean cat named. Ironically named Powder Puff.
Yeah.
She's so sweet.
Have I told you that?
Until I think my sister literally still has leg scars.
Oh my goodness.
From ambushes.
Wow. Did I tell you the story about how we got our first cat? So it was one of my daughter's birthdays. Okay.
Yeah.
And she wanted a cat for a pet for her birthday. That's what she wanted. She wanted that as a gift for, I don't know, 7 or something.
Okay.
And I was trying to sell the house we were in, and I didn't want a cat in the house because, what if the people coming in were allergic to cats or something like that, right?
Yeah, good move.
So on her birthday,
yeah.
a cat showed up on the back porch. Just showed up scratching on the door. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know anything about cats. So that cat ended up coming into our house, and we kept it until we could find the owner. We actually couldn't find the owner and took it to the pound. But the idea was, okay, that was my first exposure to having a cat in the house. And I up until that point, I have to admit, I really did not. I disliked cats.
Yeah.
And part of the reason for disliking cats was the first time I ever picked up a cat, it crapped on me.
What? You mean like a frog that pees? Just...
I was at the swimming pool, and I was out there playing shuffleboard, and there was this cat, and I picked up the cat, and it crapped on me.
Well, that will turn you against.
Yeah, aside from the fact that my dad just hated cats and said all kinds of mean things about cats. So it was partly inherited, partly learned, but I hated cats. So this cat came into the house, and I learned at that point, cats really aren't so bad. They play and they do fun things, and they're not that difficult to take care of. But the question is, dogs versus cats.
Dogs versus cats. Mm-hmm. Yes. Well. Cats are lower maintenance.
They are definitely lower maintenance.
And they are less expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You
stick out a box, and they magically find out where it is, and they go in it.
Yes, the cats are so untrainable that the reason that the fact that they figure out the box situation by themselves is amazing. So I got mine.
It's like a mystery of the universe.
Right. So there was a real cat guy that I worked with, and we had feral cats in the alley. And he took some skids and built them a little structure, and then he went out and fed them every day. And then when there was a litter, he brought all the babies in. And I was like, my son was like 3 or 4. I'm like, jeez.
Yeah, sure.
Right,
okay, we'll take a cat.
I'll take one of those cats. And he was. So in the kitchen on the linoleum floor, I just sort of boxed in an area with a litter box, so that he couldn't go anywhere during the day when no one was home, and then figure that out, and then you're done.
Well, the thing that was amazing to me when this cat showed up on my back porch on my daughter's birthday was the neighbor said, he brought me over some kitty litter and a some kind of a container to put it in. And just said, I was like, how do I tell the cat to go there? And it's like, no, you don't. You just put it in the basement, and the cat will find it. It's like, I don't know how that happens.
I don't know. I don't know. I saw this. It was like, what are those America's Talent shows? Whatever those things are. So anyway, this woman comes out. These two Ukrainian sisters come out.
Okay.
With cats who are just like cats.
Yeah.
Like what, just looking around. What they're doing there. And then they start performing tricks. I'm like, a cat?
But that's the thing that cats don't. That's
how in the world? So this is the extreme end of.
Well, that's an area where dogs are clearly better. I just watched this video.
Good boy. Go ahead. Go make your case.
All right. So I just saw this video today about this woman with a dog. It was a sheep herding dog.
Oh my God.
I forget exactly what breed.
Yeah.
But this thing ran an obstacle course on the command of the woman. Like she would snap her fingers and it would do this, that, and the other thing.
Zigzag, jumping through hoops,
doing this thing, doing that thing, and the dog was loving it. And you train the dog so dogs can be trained to do amazing things. I've never seen a trained cat.
Yeah, this is that was the whole point of the thing.
Yeah.
It was so amazing because it's such an outlying situation, that you can barely get a cat to come to you when you call his name.
I know, right?
Or
to make any response at all when you call its name. It's like they don't even know that they have a name. What's that thing? What's the thing people say about cats? Cats have 3 names. The name you give it, its real name, and some other thing.
Right. Although I watched this experiment, and with cats, and they had the cat. Like 2 people would sit in a circle. They place the cat over there, call its name, and he would only come on Carl, his name, but would not come on girl.
Huh. That's pretty precise.
That is right.
Yeah.
I mean, that is very close.
Yeah.
And they're just ornery that way.
Yeah, they are.
My cat has turned into an outdoor cat, but my previous cat was not that interested in going outside. And so, if your situation is that you don't have a yard or whatever, that it's hard to have an indoor dog.
Well, the other thing about that is you're right. You can have an indoor cat. Some cats are perfectly fine indoors. And the problem with having an indoor dog is the dog gets lonely. The cat doesn't mind that you're gone. The cat probably prefers that you're gone.
No.
Right? The cat is so standoffish and independent that it's like, yeah, they're all gone. That's great.
Right, you come home after 3 days and you think that he would come and jump in your lap, and he's like, oh, you guys?
You're back? Shoot.
Yeah, well, good, because the food bowl was empty.
It's right.
Yeah, but a dog is
but a dog, some dogs, if you leave them at home, they'll chew up the furniture because they're so nervous because they don't have anybody to play with.
Well, needy's what? That's my knock against the dog.
Yeah, well, there's 2 sides to it. Yes, they're needy, but they're also incredibly friendly. You see these stories about somebody who
it's nice, and it makes the owner feel wanted.
Yes.
Because they're excited that you're home, and there's all of that reciprocal.
You see, I've seen so many stories about dogs that wait at the bus stop for the kid to get off the bus, or dogs that sit out in the front yard waiting for dad to get home from work because the dog just loves dad so much.
Right, and the cat's going, loser! I got things to do.
I'm not worried about
that. Yeah, because I've heard that right, because the dog looks up to you as the one who provides, the shelter and the food and the intention. He looks at you as if you're a god. Mm-hmm. And a cat's like,
I am God.
He provides me. He provides me food. He provides me shelter. He provides me everything I need. Yes. I am God. Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah, that is the difference.
Now, here's another big difference between dogs and cats. There are service dogs. You see blind people walking around with a dog leading them, which I just think, whenever I see that, I just think, what an amazing thing.
I know.
I think this is just an astonishing thing that dogs can do this kind of thing and serve people in that way. There are no service cats.
Yeah. Cat is. I watched this documentary, one of those survival documentaries, and this gal is jogging through the canyons.
Yeah.
Did in Utah. Boom, boom, boom. She slips on this shelf and then free falls 30 feet and breaks her pelvis.
Oh my gosh!
And with her dog, and so it's a nice day, but it gets very cold at night. And she starts to try. She tries to pull herself out, but she's just like army crawling. 2 feet at a time.
Yeah.
This is not going to get you anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
She does get to a snow melt area, so there's a little bit of water there. Well, now night is coming.
Yeah.
And she's dressed for the daytime. She's like, I'm going to get hypothermia if I don't. But I can't exercise to stay warm.
Right.
So she does. She says, I did like 1,500 crunches. Right? The only exercise she can do because.
Right.
So the next day, so the light comes up, and she's like running out of water, and the dog wants the water too. And she's like, I gotta get, this dog's cool. It's straight out of a Lassie episode. She's like, all right, Lassie, go get help.
Right, and the dog goes and gets help.
The dog goes and gets help.
Yes.
It's 5 miles.
Yeah.
And a pickup truck comes back.
Right.
So somehow, she of course, she wasn't there, but she's just like, right, so dog goes up to some campers, barks, turns around.
It's like, follow me.
Yeah, follow me.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. So
you're not getting that from a cat.
No, you're not getting that from a cat.
Or from my parents had a pug. All right, trust me. You're not going to send your pug to go get help.
That's right. Either. It's not all dogs do that. But I've seen things. I've seen so many stories like that where dogs do amazing things. And I saw this one thing on social media somewhere where somebody said, we don't deserve dogs. all the good things that dogs do. Now, but the thing is, dogs want to have fun, which is good, but it's also can be irritating.
Yes.
Like dogs are needy.
Right.
My son has a dog.
Cats, respect your space.
Yeah.
They're like, you come home with a bad day. I don't want you jumping around my lap and
right.
going
The dog is like,
yeah.
Yeah. So my son has a dog, and we watch their dog, and it's a lovely dog. I love this dog. Love to play with it, but I have a limit. If we have to take care of the dog for a week, then that's great. But there comes a point where it's like, no, I'm not going to pet you again. I'm tired of it. So
and with that, the barking. Obviously people get dogs for if you have a dog to protect your space or whatever.
Right.
That's what you want. But God, there's so much yap. My neighbors, I can't even go out there and grill sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So cats are quiet.
Mm-hmm. Most cats, Siamese cats, are really noisy. Apparently,
for attention, or what are they?
They're just noisy. They just yap all the time. I don't know what it is. Yes,
and in general, I would say mutts of all of both types are better than your purebreds, like your Siamese or your and I mean unless you need the Australian sheep herding dog
for a particular, unless you need something really precise. Yes,
who's just born knowing how to do right. So the farmer doesn't even need to train this dog.
I know, that's another thing that's amazing. It's like that you breed a dog to do a certain thing, and it's just born knowing how to do that thing.
If you brought him to a children's nursery,
he'd herd all the kids.
He would keep all of the kids away from the road.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing about dogs. And so, which are you going to trust with your infant, a dog or a cat?
Well, I could go either way. I mean,
actually, I'd trust the dog 100 times more.
Well, I don't. No, I mean,
I'd be afraid the cat would sit on the dog and sit on the kid and smother the kid.
Just because he wouldn't care.
Yes, just because.
Yes.
Because it's warm. I'm going to sit on this warm thing until it dies.
All right. Well, I mean, you're talking about a helpless infant, but
yes.
As a small child. Well, it depends if you're talking about some crappy pit bull or something like that. But
true.
In general, I have my niece just had her first kid, and this dog, which I don't think it's purebred, but it has like a lab look to it.
Yeah.
Is so attached to this child that it will just sit and stare and guard.
Yeah.
You're not getting that from the cat. I mean,
no, you're not.
And if you had a heart attack, I don't know if your dog wouldn't call 911, but he would at least be concerned.
Yeah, and try to help.
Or just be sad.
Yeah.
Right? They can read your emotions.
That's another thing about dogs. Dog emotions and human emotions are much more aligned than human emotions and cat emotions.
And I saw this thing, and this doesn't even make sense, or maybe it does, that the domestication of dogs came so much earlier that they're more in tune with us. But cats were beloved by the Egyptians 5,000 years ago. That's not long enough for the cats to get on board.
You'd think. Well, apparently dogs and humans have been together for like 15,000 years, or maybe
so another
even
10,000 years. The cats will be. They'll at least get on our sleep schedule.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yes. So dogs, you can train a dog to do various things. Although one thing that I've never quite understood is why you can't train a dog. Maybe you can, but why people don't train dogs?
Beer.
No, well, that's a good point. But to go in the toilet,
right?
Like this whole thing about having to take the dog out for walks and everything. Why can't you train the dog to go in a special place and like you have a chain?
And you come up from work and you go, and you flush.
Or the dog can flush, right? Why can't the dog flush?
I mean, if you can
train. You can train dogs to do all kinds of things. Why can't you have like a special dog toilet, train the dog to go in it and flush, and maybe clean it on Saturdays too?
And then when you hit the flush handle, some nuggets of some treats come out.
There you go. That's not a bad idea.
That seems like they could figure that out.
Come on.
Not my parents' pug, but I mean other smarter dogs. Mice catching.
Yes, that is a good thing.
I'm going to take a hit here for the cats.
Yes, well that is a good thing about cats. They do control mice populations, which is very important. Mice and rats, very important, especially in agricultural communities.
Yeah.
And having cats around would be very helpful.
Right. Remember our show on witches?
Yeah.
That one of the things that the iconography of what it means to be a witch may have come from
cat and a broom.
Maybe come from women brewers.
Yes,
and you have all this grain, which draws mice, and so you need to have cats
to kill the mice,
and broom to sweep up, and a big cauldron.
Yeah, and apparently the hats were so that at the market people could say, "Oh, there are the brewers."
It would be similar to a baker's hat or a barber pole.
Yeah,
it would just be like the indication that.
I thought that was kind of fascinating.
That was fun, but yes, that's so cats get a witchy bad rap. Well, really, they're just helping out brewing beer.
There you go. What else could be more important?
Yes. So we've covered the litter box, but boy, you can't say enough about the litter box.
No,
and the fact that we'll go to the beach for 3 days.
Yeah,
And
you don't have
just
to worry
leave
about
a ton of food.
Right.
And I mean, like a self-feeding food
Right.
thing. And
the cat's okay.
And the cat's okay.
You can't do that with a dog.
No.
Dogs are very high maintenance in that regard. Dogs promote a healthy lifestyle. Now my office, I work from home, and I know the dog walking schedule of everybody in the neighborhood.
Okay.
because they're walking, there's Dave and Sue, and they're walking their dogs, and I know exactly when to expect everybody, because they got to walk the dog twice a day in order to keep them from pooping in the house.
That's funny because in the same way that the cat person would go, oh my God, the obligation of having to walk the damn dog all the time. Is on the plus side is, you know what? It makes you get your butt up and go for a walk.
Yeah, maybe you should be walking around.
Maybe you should be walking around. You lay
and throwing a stick.
You fat cat person.
That's right. That's right. So dogs, to some extent, promote a healthier lifestyle, I think.
I would say that. Yeah. And yes, you're like you would be more likely to go on that trail in your neighborhood that you move to the neighborhood because there's a trail there and then you never go.
Yeah.
And then you get a dog and now you go.
Yes.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right. How about this? There are more sizes and varieties of dogs than there are of cats.
Oh, I have not thought of that one. That one is very right. So you can find a cat is a cat is a cat.
Well, there are you can get an ocelot, there's different kinds of cats.
Yes, but in terms of various lifestyles.
Yes. Yeah.
There aren't a variety of cats to that degree that you're like, oh no. We got this big yard. We've got these huge dogs. Right. I live in a small apartment with a little lap dog.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I need a dog that will run with me, or I need a dog that will, watch my kid, or I need a dog that will be an indoor dog. Right? There's a million different options with dogs.
My son's girlfriend has a dog that doesn't care about doing any of those things. That you can just put the dog in a pouch and walk around, set him down, put him in your lap. He doesn't care.
Right.
And if that's
what you want,
that's what you're looking for, whatever that breed is, then that's
that's
what you want. But if you or a dog that will murder an intruder.
Yeah.
If they've got those out there too.
That's right. So now, Blonde Nerd said that Blonde Nerd hasn't written into the show for a while, but knew that we were doing this topic and said that dogs are the boys and cats are the girls. And the thing that I really liked about that is when I was a kid, I literally thought that. I literally thought that dogs were males and cats were females.
Yes.
Like they were as if they were the same species, although at the time of my life I didn't know what a species was. But
100%.
Doesn't it seem that way?
Yeah, and it also shows the propensity for children to define male and female.
Yes.
From a very, very early age.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That peanut butter and jelly that's mixed together by itself. So on the jar, there is a human version of a peanut and a grape. Yeah, and the peanut is the boy, and that's the you just have
that's the natural inclination.
The natural inclination, despite what all of psychology and trans madness would say
in the last couple of years.
Which is
now, I do have one other point to make about dogs and cats, and that is when you see those sad commercials from like the ASPCA.
Don't make me cry.
Okay, whenever you see those commercials, it's like 9-1 dogs to cats, and I think the reason is because dogs can be so much more expressive. That like a suffering dog,
you can like the eyebrows and the sad.
There's something about this. Yeah, a dog can give you a sad face in a way that a cat can't, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's another big difference between dogs and cats.
In Mexico, this whole yard business, is a very American thing, right? And so your dog just lives on the roof.
Really?
Mostly.
Okay.
Yeah. He can come inside, but when you let him out, he
doesn't go out back. He goes up.
He goes up. And I know a guy who lives in the city who says that they keep getting calls for his neighbor, saying that there's a dog that's loose, stuck on the roof. But no, it's just a Mexican family. That's where they let. That's where the dog. That's where the dog goes.
When I was a kid,
dogs are. Do you think dogs are gonna stumble and fall off of a roof? I mean,
they're not stupid. So when I was a kid, I had a game called Hey Pa, There's a Goat on the Roof.
That's not a game.
Yeah.
That's in your mind.
No. Look it up. there was this game called Hey Pa, There's a Goat on the Roof. And I remember I got it for a birthday sometime.
That is
strange thing. All right. So dogs on the roof. Okay. I mean, that makes sense, I guess. If you have a flat roof.
I don't remember seeing any house cats
in Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are maybe farms and stuff, but like in the city.
What, were they running loose or something?
No, at all. Just didn't see a lot of cats.
No cats.
Yeah, big dog culture, and lots of stray dogs.
Now there are some sad places in the world where, all of a sudden there's a economic downturn or something, and people just let their dogs go, and you end up with these cities with all these dogs running loose in the cities, and that's pretty sad. I've heard about situations like that where there's just dogs running loose. Apparently in India, there's dogs running loose. There's like packs of dogs running around through the cities. That's what our buddy who's been to India a few times tells us.
He spent a lot of time there and doesn't have a lot of kind things to say.
No, he doesn't. All right, so that's dogs and cats. On the whole, I used to hate cats, and I don't hate cats anymore. I like cats. And I think on the whole, I'm more of a dog person than a cat person, but I don't want either of them right now because it's just too much. Like if I wanted to go away for a week, it's a big hassle. What are you going to do with a stupid cat?
I would say it this way. Yeah, I agree with you that, dogs are definitely cooler, but I'd rather have a cat.
Just because it's less work.
Yeah. Just because it's less work. Now, there is something, the sort of the comfort of either of them sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
They're quiet and they come lay down next to you. Something which is what I find interesting is that they're not massaging you.
Yeah.
You're petting them and yet you find it soothing.
Yes.
Even though it's they're not.
You got to tell the port story.
Yeah, right. So, gosh, I'm cleaning up this extra room in the house that just became a collection room. Cleaned it up, got it all. It was snowing and cold outside. I put the room. It was a radiator heated house.
Yeah.
But this room was not very warm, so I had an extra radiator just for that. Cleaned the room, made the bed, sat on top of the bed with a book and a bottle of port, which I've never had, that you made.
Right.
I was like, well, this is kind of nice. So, then I got, and then this cat that I had, I don't know what it was. If he saw a book, first he wanted to get between you and the book.
To scratch its face against the book.
He just had to be there while you're reading a book.
Right.
So I've got a cat, a book, a blanket, a space heater.
Right.
And I texted you. I said, "Gosh, I just tasted your port. It's really good. Thanks." And your response was?
My response was, "Yeah, it's the kind of thing you want when you're sitting in front of a fire with a cat on your lap reading a book."
I'm like, what does a space heater do? That's pretty much what's going on right here. That's funny. All righty. Well, yes. So, yeah. Dogs are great, but I'll take a cat all day, every day.
So, okay, if you have feelings about the question, write into the show, pigweedshow@gmail.com. All right, so we got a man of the week or anything?
Well, this is, yes, I like to make my mans of the week completely unrelated to the topic, and I'm going to go with Bibi Netanyahu.
Okay.
And it is because, how many rallies, how many state continuums that need to be written and voted on, people in the streets, and Bibi's like, you guys don't get this. This is my country, and we will do what's best for us, and we will do what we think it takes to address this problem.
Right.
And he it's just so funny that the whole world thinks that,
what, like if they demonstrate enough.
By writing your congressman. I mean, not even. He's like, when it's over, when we say it's over.
Yeah. Well, so I respect that. Although at the same time, you have to remember that Israel depends so much on U.S. aid that if these protests could turn off the spigot, which is never going to happen, but if they could, you can understand why the protests think that they might have something to do with it. But from his perspective,
they don't think that far ahead, and well, you know what? They might need to buy some more Patriot missiles, and they can do it.
Yeah.
But it's not like there's going to come a point where the United States is going to shut off the spigot.
Yeah. But I completely agree that Israel should look. We're going to act in our own interest. What you guys think in London or some other place?
Yeah, exactly. Some protest in Dublin.
Yeah.
So this protest is going to influence the Irish government, the Ireland government, to then put so much pressure that they're going to rethink how they feel that they need to protect themselves.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Just the idea of, or how about this? How about when the city council of Flint, Michigan wastes everybody's time by having a day of debate to write a resolution that condemns or
and as we said recently, in terms of man on the street interviews and things, I'll bet you most of the people at that meeting couldn't find Israel on a map.
Absolutely not, or know anything about the history of it, or and then think that Bibi's going to go, oh, wow, so we've got the Council of Santa Barbara and Flint. Wow. Well, maybe we need to rethink this.
Maybe it's time to change course.
He's like, international law and international courts in South Africa. I'm like, everybody's debating this issue like it matters to anybody.
Yeah.
And Bibi's going, let me assure you, none of this matters.
Right. We're going to do what we think is right.
This is we have a country to secure, and we know how it has to be done, and we're going to do it until we're done, and we don't care what you think.
Yeah.
And it's
very refreshing.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, all this well, what is somebody else gonna do?
Right. Yeah.
No. Do what you got to do, bro.
Yeah. Right. Yep. All right.
Well
done, Bibi.
Bibi, who I think, obviously, if you hear him speak, I think he's from Philadelphia. Does that sound right?
He was educated in the United States. Yeah.
Yeah, but he might have even been born and raised.
I don't know that.
When I hear anybody who picks up English
that well
after the age of 16 will always have an accent.
Oh yeah, he was definitely in the United States before when he was younger.
Yes, and I'm assuming his Hebrew is pretty good.
Well, actually, I know a little bit of Hebrew, but I couldn't judge.
He's been in and out of. Right, he's been the prime minister. It seems like my whole life he's been in and out. His party, his party loses, party wins, like that. But all right, to Bibi and to cats.
And dogs.
Oh, jeez.
Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.